Namaste. Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra falls in the sign of Pisces, and it is the last nakshatra of Shani. Shani rules Pushya, Anuradha and Uttara Bhadrapad. In Uttara Bhadrapad comes the desire to seek knowledge, wisdom. From all the three nakshatras of Saturn, Uttara Bhadrapad brings a lot of wisdom to the native. Of course, the chart need to have a certain quality to it. But Uttara Bhadrapad is a highly deep nakshatra, meaning natives born with moon in Uttara Bhadrapad are deep thinkers, and they are generally found to be conservative, traditional and God lovers. It is one of the most beautiful nakshatra of Lord Saturn. And so in this podcast, I have talked briefly on a moon in Uttara Bhadrapad Nakshatra. So let's begin. Moon in Uttara Bhadrapad can be described in one word: a preacher. The word preacher is very significant because you preach a certain thing only when you yourself believe in what you preach, when you yourself walk the talk. Walk the talk is therefore a trademark of moon in Uttara Bhadrapad natives. They are faithful people, firm God believers, and also take great interest in rituals and remedies that can help them live a better quality of life. Quality of life is not based on how much money you have in your bank account or which car you drive. Quality of life is simply based on the quality of your thoughts. Moon in Uttara Bhadrapad natives take great efforts in raising the quality of their thoughts. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. Always remember this. Influenced by the sign lord Jupiter and nakshatra lord Saturn, moon in Uttara Bhadrapad does bring a certain depth of understanding to the native. The native therefore does well as a preacher, teacher, lecturer, or if the native is an evolved soul, then he can also become a great spiritual master. Teaching, preaching, educating, these are the most significant traits that these natives like, and if the quality of their birth chart is good, then they also excel in these professions. A preacher knows how to protect his followers, his men. Protecting, safeguarding is the very nature of Uttara Bhadrapad. And moon in Uttara Bhadrapad simply makes the native too protective of his people. The deity of Uttara Bhadrapad is Ahir Buddhyan, meaning water serpent of the deep seas. And Ahir is also regarded as the guardian of treasures. So the very nature of guarding, protecting fellow men comes naturally to moon in Uttara Bhadrapad natives. See how the development of Saturn's nakshatras take place. In Pushya nakshatra, moon is focused on bringing reforms. In Anuradha, moon is focused on bringing transformations. And now in Uttara Bhadrapad, moon is focused on preaching. It is only when you go through transformation that you evolve, you mature, you become wise, and then you naturally become a preacher who wants to share the many treasures of wisdom that he has attained through his whole journey of transformation. The work of preaching is the highest and greatest and most glorious calling to which anyone can ever be called. A good preacher is always sharing freely and openly. Only that man can share who has it, and only that man who has it who goes on sharing selflessly. Moon in Uttara Bhadrapada natives are good preachers because they are open-minded, they love to share, they are not those typical stingy men, they are understanding, they are social, and they believe in the fact that sharing is caring. Reminds me of a beautiful Sufi story. There was a man, a very, very poor man. He was a woodcutter and he lived with his wife in a small hut. The hut was so small that he and his wife could sleep. Only that much space was in the hut. In the middle of one dark night, it was raining hard and somebody knocked on the door. The wife was sleeping close to the door. The husband said to the wife, "Open the door. The rain is too much and the man must have lost his way. It is a dark night and the forest is dangerous and full of wild animals. Open the door immediately." She said, "But there is no space." The man laughed and said, "This is not a palace of a king where you will always find shortage of space. This is a poor man's hut. Two can sleep well, three can sit. We will create space. Just open the door." And the door was opened. The man came in and he was very grateful, and they all sat and started talking and gossiping and telling stories to each other. The night had to be passed somehow because they could not sleep. There was no space, and just then another knock. The man, the new guest, was now sitting by the side of the door. The owner of the hut said, "Friend, open the door. Somebody else is lost." And the man said, "You seem to be a very strange fellow. There is no space." He said, "That was my wife's argument too. If I had listened to her argument, you would have been in the forest, eaten by the wild animals. And you seem to be a strange man, that you cannot understand that we are sitting just because of you. We are tired after a long day. I am a woodcutter. The whole day I cut the wood and then sell it in the market. And then we can hardly get food once a day. Open the door. This is not your hut. If 3 persons can sit comfortably, 4 persons can sit a little closer with a little less comfort. But we will create the space. Open the door." Naturally, he had to open the door, although reluctantly. And a man entered and he was very grateful. And now they were sitting very close. There was not even a single inch of space left. And then suddenly a strange knock, which did not seem to be a man's. There was a silence from all three. The wife and the 2 guests were afraid that he would say, "Open the door." And he said it. "Open the door. I know who is knocking. It is my donkey. In this wide world, he is my only friend. I carry my wood on that donkey. He remains outside, but it is raining too much. Open the door." And now it was the 4th guest to be allowed in, and everybody resisted, and they said, "This is too much. Where is the donkey going to stand?" This man said, "You don't understand. It is a poor man's hut. It is always spacious. Right now we are sitting. When the donkey comes in, we will all be standing. And we will keep the donkey in the middle so he feels warm and cozy and loved. They said it was better to get lost in the jungle rather than to be caught in your hut. But nothing could be done. When the owner said to open the door was opened and the donkey came in. The water was dripping from all over his body, and the owner took him into the middle and told all the others to stand around. He said, "You don't understand. My donkey is of a very philosophical mind. You can say anything. He is never disturbed. He always listens silently." The poor man was truly a rich man. He was poor. He had just a small hut, but his heart was so full of love, compassion, and he provides shelter to humans and animal in his small hut. There is no discrimination, there is no reservation, there is no selfishness. He is simply happy to share, to give shelter to those who are in dire need. There are many men and women who have a big fat bank balance. They have lots of money, but they are not rich because they are too selfish, too self-centered, too stingy. In Hindi, there is a perfect word that describes such men and women. The word is paise wala, meaning a man having lots of money, hard cash. But such a man only has money, money, and just money. He is not rich in the true sense, because to become rich, you need a heart that beats with compassion, a heart that feels more, a heart that can understand the pain of others. Only such a man is truly rich. He comes rushing towards those who need his help, who need his support. In the city of Pune, the powerful rulers, the Peshwas, were addressed as Shrimant Peshwa. Shrimant means rich, one who is a giver, a provider, one who is compassionate and willing to share the wealth for the benefit of the society. In the same city of Pune, the famous Dagdushet Ganpati is also addressed as Shrimant Dagdushet Ganpati because he fulfills the desires of his devotees. He has a very large heart. I prostrate before the most beautiful Lord, Lord Ganesha, Shrimant Dagdushet Ganpati. Uttara Bhadrapad is such a Shrimant, rich nakshatra, because this nakshatra is the peak point of Saturn's maturity. It is here that a preacher is born. Martin Luther was born with moon in Uttara Bhadrapad. Martin Luther was a German priest, an author, a professor. He was the seminal figure of the Protestant Reformation, and his theological beliefs form the basis of Lutheranism. Luther was ordained to the priesthood in 1507. He came to reject several teachings and practices of the Roman Catholic Church. His beliefs helped birth the Reformation, which would give rise to Protestantism as the third major force within Christian alongside Roman and Eastern Orthodoxy. He was indeed a great preacher. And when it comes to preaching, how can we miss the politicians? To become a great preacher, you need command over your language, your vocabulary, your speech. And giving great speech is indeed very instrumental when it comes to making a great political career. Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra also brings a great inclination towards spirituality. Steve Jobs was born with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada. His interest in spirituality is much known as he had traveled to India to seek the blessings of the great spiritual master Neem Karoli Baba. It is said that he was also very much influenced by Paramahansa Yogananda and his book The Autobiography of a Yogi. Attaining liberation, moksha, is what these natives' ultimate goal is. And as they grow, they realize that liberation is possible only through the spiritual path and not the religious path. They realize that God has no religion. They realize that religion and spirituality are two ends that can never meet. You either are religious or you either are spiritual. You cannot be both. Remember, religion is belief in someone else's experience. Spirituality is having your own experience. Once it happened, a man came and asked Buddha, "Is there God?" Buddha answered, "No, there is no God." Another man came and asked Buddha, "What do you think of God? Is there any God?" Buddha answered, "Yes, there is God." Late evening, an old man came and said, "There are people who believe in God and there are people who don't believe in God. I myself need to know if God exists. Please help me." This time, Buddha did not speak. Instead, he gave the answer through his actions. Buddha sat beneath the tree, closed his eyes, and went into deep meditation. The old man thought that this must be the answer. So he too sat down, closed his eyes, and started meditating. After a while, the old man opened his eyes, touched the feet of Buddha, and said, "Your compassion is great. You have given me the answer. I will always remain obliged to you." And then happily he left. Ananda asked Buddha, "To the first man you answered God doesn't exist. To the second man you answered God exists. And to the last man you said nothing but just went into deep meditation. I don't understand your answers. Please help me understand." Buddha smiled and said, "The first and the second man just wanted an answer. They were not seekers. The last man was a seeker. He wanted to experience God and not just know. He was able to relate. He was a seeker." Buddha therefore says to his disciples, "Never give your precious time to God believers because they just believe. They are not willing to jump and experience themselves. They just want some masiha on which they can rely without taking any efforts on their part. And so never entertain God believers. Instead, give your time to those who are seekers, who are willing to take efforts, who are willing to ask, 'Show me how to experience God.'" Moon in Uttara Bhadrapad brings great potential to make you a seeker and not just a believer. Buddha says, "Truth is not transferable. I cannot give you the truth. Nobody else can give it to you, but you can attain it on your own. You have to seek." Buddha wants seekers, and the seeker is a totally different phenomena. The believer is not a seeker. The believer wants to avoid everything. That's why he believes. The believer is always in search of a Masiha, somebody who can chew for him. But if I eat, your hunger is not going to be satisfied. Nobody can save you except yourself. You have to be a seeker and not a believer. And that is the message to all natives having moon in Uttara Bhadrapad. That continue to seek, continue to show the courage in exploring the beyond, the unseen. Continue to practice meditation. To seek the blessings of Uttara Bhadrapad Nakshatra, plant a mango tree or donate mangoes to the poor. Because mango tree is the tree that comes under Uttara Bhadrapad Nakshatra. Mango is symbolic representation of sweetness and royal life. The more you worship the mango tree, the more you will continue to excel in your career and life. And you will become richer from all angles, spiritual and material. I humbly prostrate before the nakshatra of wisdom, prosperity, and maturity, Uttara Bhadrapad. May the blessings of Uttara Bhadrapad shower upon me and all my followers and listeners. Always remember, the more conscious you are of your karma, the more you are going to evolve as a person. And the more you evolve as a person, the more you are going to succeed in your life. It is all interconnected. The key, therefore, is in raising your awareness. As awareness grows, love grows within you. You become more compassionate, more understanding, more forgiving. Remember, if you can grow in love, you will grow in awareness. If you grow in awareness, you will grow in love. So focus on love, focus on raising your awareness. The world is filled with people who hate more and love less, and therefore we have more miseries and less happiness in life. But you can change your life. You can raise the quality of your life only if you are willing to drop all the hatred in your heart and focus on following the path of love, the path of devotion, bhakti marg. Always remember, the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by any means except bhakti. And so, I am a friend of all those beautiful souls who are walking on the path of bhakti, path of devotion. To such beautiful souls, I want to say, keep walking. You are on the right track. Love is the way, the only way that can bring peace to your heart. The only way that can help you reach God with much ease. Rumi says, lots of ways to reach God. I choose love. Bhakti marg, devotional path. That is the path of Kabir. That is the path of Jesus. That is the path of Krishna. That is the path of Rama. That is the path of Buddha. That is the path of Guru Nanak. And that path can become your path as well, only if you are willing to take the first step towards love. Love to each one of you. Remember to meditate and chant every day. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।